So what? What if the show gets canceled and you guys never get to do movies or anything like that?
Say that.
You guys are good. I mean, Charlie, you're very funny. I love those rocket reports.
You really mean that, Bill?
People are telling me you're imitating me, Charlie, though. I don't like to hear that. And watch your mouth. Clean it up. Who are you? What's
I'm Gilbert.
Gilbert, cheer up for me, will you, pal? Huh? Come on, you're a very lucky human being. You're very lucky, Nobody walks up to you on the street and says, I hated 1941, did they? All right. And, you look very good when you comb your hair. It's nice. It's when you do,
Bill, it's supposed to be like this.
And you girls are terrific looking. You're great. I still mix you up. I can't tell you apart, but it's great. It's like, oh, it's that other girl that's very attractive and so forth. And, Joe Piscopo, you're great. The whole sports thing, the monosyllabic hollering and stuff.
Thanks.
It's inspired, but are you gonna definitely stick with Joe Piscopo as your name?
Well, I was born with it, Bill. It's my name.
Wow. Well, whatever. And you, Eddie, you're black. And that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. You can do whatever you want. Matt and Pat and Yvonne, those guys are great. Look, listen, you guys need help.
Yeah.
You need a lot of help, really. But hey, I saved the old cast. I can do it for you.
Yes, sir.
What do you think they were like before I got here, man? Dan Aykroyd was weak. I taught him a lot. Belushi was a shadow. Incredible. Jane Curtin had a serious drinking problem before.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
The important thing now is to be up. You got to be up, because if you're not up, I don't look good tonight.
That's true.
The press, it can be terrible to you, but it doesn't matter, The ratings deal, it just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter.
Right, it just doesn't matter. That's right, confidence. Sure, I haven't done this show in a year. Sure, I could go out there and make a fool of myself. Sure, I could completely blow everything. I could completely blow everything and humiliate myself in front of millions of people on TV. It's a very real possibility. I think I'm going to be sick.
Oh, Bill.
Okay?
I'm going to be sick. Well, maybe a
Bill,
drink
you
or
okay?
something.
Bill, take it easy.
I don't know.
You'll be okay. Bill.
This guy's a basket case.
Hey, look, we carried Elliot Gould, we could carry Bill Murray. No problem at all, all right? Just like you said, it just doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter. Hey, we're going to take care of you, huh? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just 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 doesn't matter.
Go get him!
Live from New York, it's Saturday
This is Not Ready for Season 6, where we discuss the much-maligned 6th season of Saturday Night Live. We want to know if it had promise, if it's as rough as some people have said, and we just want to explore some of the nuances that make this an interesting transitional season of Saturday Night Live. Joining me, my co-host, along with me through this neat ride as an SNL fan, as SNL fans that we are. Thanks for joining me on this ride, Mr. Jeremy Dove. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. There's these last week's episode and then the next couple we have coming up is so important in the history of Saturday Night Live, and so much is happening on the screen, but also so much is happening behind the scenes that are vital to, how we get to where we are today. And maybe if some things go a certain way, maybe they go left instead of right, we wouldn't be having this show. We wouldn't have an SNL going on its 52nd season. So for those who may be not sure, I hope you tell people to listen to us, because these are some of the most important moments in the show's history.
Yeah, we're covering some real SNL history here, and I'm excited to be doing it. So this week it's episode 12 of season 6, which aired March 7th, 1981. Your host, Bill Murray, part of the original Not Ready for Primetime players, coming back to host. Musical guest Delbert McClinton. This, Jeremy, the final episode of the Jean Doumanian era, and the final episode for a few of the cast members who we've sort of bonded with over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it really is the end of an era, and it wasn't a long era for Jean Doumanian, but this is her final episode, and it's a shame in a way, because she ended on such a great one that it's like, man, like you wish you wish sometimes you don't know, like, but maybe could this momentum have picked up a little bit more going into the next episode and then into the next season to give it a chance or not? I'm still up in the air on it myself, but this is the end of an era for quite a few people. Gene, one of them, and some of the cast members as well.
Yeah. Ann Risley, Gilbert, and Charlie didn't make the cut onto the next episode, so this is the last we'll see of those three. Charlie, not a surprise, and I guess none of the three of them, Jeremy, none of them is a surprise that they didn't kind of make the cut.
Yeah, especially with what Charlie did at the end of last week's episode.
Yes.
I think that probably sealed the deal for him for sure. I wonder, let's say he doesn't do that, how they would look at him. I still think he wasn't sharp, but I don't know if that was just like what the icing on the cake was for them, or if he doesn't do that, maybe he's safe for another season. I don't know.
I think he's safe for at least another episode. I think he joins Denny and Gail and the others, and Joe and Eddie, like at least for the next episode. But I think cursing, I think that's what did him in as joining Gilbert and Ann as far as not making the cut to the next episode. So I think that was a factor, because he wasn't so bad and irrelevant on the show that he wouldn't have made the cut to the next episode. I think.
I agree with that. I think so for sure. It's and also I would, we've been honest but tough on Charlie. It's never easy replacing the original, like the cast of SNL, and then the first time they were doing it. But then also you were put in there like before the show as the star, and I'm not saying woe is Charlie, but that's a lot of pressure too. To be fair to him, of like you're before like the season really gets going, we're projecting you to be the star of the show and be like the captain of this ship. So he had a lot of pressure too, and following Chevy and John and Danny and Billy, who were the previous guys doing that. It's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm ready to get into this fascinating episode, my man.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, we start with the cold open. The cast is visiting Bill Murray in his dressing room to have a little chat, and they tell Bill about how they're being compared to the old cast, and the press hasn't been kind to them. And then Bill kind of responds to them in a supportive but kind of classic Bill Murray sort of way.
So how's it been going?
Well, it ain't exactly so easy, Bill. Everybody keeps comparing us to the old cast.
And the press hasn't been overly kind.
Yeah, I read that stuff. Saturday Night Live is Saturday Night Dead.
Oh, man, come on.
From yucks to yak. My favorite, though, is Vile from New York.
Please, Billy, come on.
It's funny.
This is such a great cold open. They're really just letting Bill Murray cook here, honestly. Yeah. And some of the lines he's saying, "Oh, don't worry about it, guys," and Saturday Night Live is Saturday Night Dead, and the rest of them going, oh. He's like, and my favorite, Vile from New York, and then he's like, what? It's funny. Like, he was great, like, just classic Bill.
Yeah, he's trying to pep them up, but he's still giving the Bill, like, backhanded, passive-aggressive comments. I love when he just tells Charlie, people are telling me that you're imitating me, and I don't like that. And then he says, and watch your mouth, clean it up.
and the crowd, the studio audience responded great to it. But it was like, is what makes SNL great is when they really kind of like break the fourth wall and get very meta with you. Like, I loved it. Like, Bill, and they didn't really hold anything back either. They kind of just went right for it.
Yeah, he referenced the comparisons. He referenced Charlie cursing right away. I love that they just didn't ignore it. How they just, and that's not the first time we'll see it in this episode either.
Yeah,
they don't ignore what happened. I like the line he says, "I saved the old cast. I can do it for you." So he's kind of like poking fun at the old cast a little bit, and then kind of a twist at the end. Like Bill ends up kind of making himself nervous for the show because it dawns on him that he could bomb, and so the group's kind of like trying to cheer him up a little bit and kind of pep him up ultimately. And then Jeremy, I loved this, like the group live from New York. I think it was awesome. I think a really fitting way to do the last one for that group.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I kind of wonder whose idea that was to do. I almost think I love that, for Denny and the premiere, she's part of history of like the new cast and saying it. But I'm almost like, I think it would have been cool to like bookend it, like the first episode, all of them doing it, and then this episode, all of them doing it as well. I've liked, because I feel like it was like a double meaning when he has them chanting like it just doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it doesn't matter, like let's just go out there and have a good time, like we're on SNL, like don't let the press bother you. But I'm also like, it just doesn't matter because like you guys are done anyway.
This is your last show.
You're not going to make it, like, so it doesn't matter. Let's just go out here and do it. So I'm like, I feel like it's a double. I could just be me, but I feel like there's like a double meaning with that.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too. I think that's from Meatballs as well.
Yes.
I think that's a reference to Meatballs, but I think it applied in this context. I kind of think maybe a wink, wink, like you guys are on borrowed time. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter, so just go out. Let's just go out, have fun anyway.
For sure. This whole opening, like cold open, had such Bill Murray Meatballs and like Bill Murray's early movie career, like just so like wrapped up in it. But it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, and I think the monologue kind of did too. It was classic old Bill Murray. So he comes out, he's excited. Bill's jumping on stools. He's kissing and picking up audience members.
Almost dropping one too.
Almost dropped one. Almost kind of did a WWE move and dropped one and pinned one. Yeah, so he's just really enjoying himself out there and maybe losing track a little bit of the job of the monologue. And Eddie comes out to kind of talk some sense into him.
Eddie, it doesn't matter, see?
Yeah.
What matters is that we're working together.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then we're bad.
Yeah.
You're bad.
I'm bad.
I'm bad.
You both bad.
I mean, that previous black-white act, or should I say that prior act? They thought they were bad, or wild, or wilder, if you will.
Yeah.
They're not as wild and bad as the Murray-Murphy combo, because we're bad.
That's right, we bad.
I'm starting to wonder, I don't know now, like, are they telling people to be really hyped when they come out and be excited? Or is it just the adrenaline of live TV? Or we know some people, there was some chemical stuff going on too.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, Bill is like really excited. And I like what he's doing at first. And then I'm like, man, when he goes into the audience and he has the band play the opening theme again, I know it's scripted, but I'm like, wow, he's really like hype here. And I'm kind of glad. I loved, for so many different reasons, Eddie coming out and Eddie being like, Bill, and Eddie kind of commented, got that lady on her head, man. Like, it was just great. Like, and I've seen this before. Like, I've seen this on like different things in the past. This monologue. It's two, not just of all time great SNL people, but really the last 50 years, two of the great like comedic talents we've had in like ever. Yeah. Like working together. So it's like a cool thing to see. Like they're of different eras, Bill Murray and Eddie Murphy when it comes to SNL, but seeing them on stage together is like a cool moment in my opinion.
Oh, it was amazing. And I might be missing a biggie, but did Eddie and Bill ever do a movie together or anything like that?
I don't think so.
So you don't really get a chance after this to see them work together. Really, so if you want to see Bill Murray and Eddie Murphy interact and do some work together, this is the episode. This is the thing to watch, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've seen some SNL writers, different people who were around for a lot of years, say, in their opinion, and I mean that's debatable, but like the two most talented cast members were these two guys. So I mean, like you kind of felt that, even though it was just like very improv. It wasn't like a detailed sketch. You could just kind of feel like these two know how to, on the fly, especially, make it work.
Yeah, and I think Bill agrees with that. The notion that they could work well together, according to the monologues script, because he says, he does his doesn't matter motif, and then he compares he and Eddie to Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor as like a bad duo and this and that. And he does his whole Bill Murray thing that he used to do. What do you think, Jeremy, of when he puts that sauce on his voice that he would sometimes do in like the early 80s kind of thing? What do you think of that shtick from Bill?
Well, the thing is, he does it, but so many people do it. Like so many like white comedians try to do that.
Anthony Michael Hall used to really love to do that too.
Anthony Michael Hall was really bad too. Yeah, it was like, bro, tone it down. I gave more of like okay here because that's a classic. Now, Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor had a few movies together. I don't know if it's Stir Crazy or Silver Streak where they're in jail and they have a classic scene doing that. where they're doing, yeah, we bad. Richard Pryor's like, you got to act bad or they gonna mess with you in here. I'm cleaning up what he really says.
Sure.
But but that's why I gave it a pass, because since he referenced Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, that's a classic scene that those two guys have together. So I feel like, okay. But Bill, when he does it, it's corny. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of corny when he a lot of comedians, when they do it, it's just corny to me.
Yeah, Bill used to always like to do that, so I wondered your opinion on that. But yeah, no, he and Eddie had really good chemistry. It was really nice to see them, just the two of them in the monologue. And I thought that was a great monologue coming off of a great cold open. I really love that monologue too.
Yeah, these out of 4 stars, the cold open and monologue are 4 out of 4, both of them to me. I thought they were great.
Yeah, we're hitting the ground running for sure, and we have a pre-tape for our next sketch. It's a Formula for the Good Life. So it's a promo video for United Chemical, if that sounds familiar, because it's where Pauly Herman works. And they're doing this promo video for the company, and they're featuring Pauly in the video. So he's like showing the camera crew around the plant, and they're basically swimming in plutonium chloride. And then he ends up showing them the mall and stuff. Jeremy, I thought this is a really neat way to show a recurring character that we're used to seeing in sketches and stuff.
At United Chemical, safety always comes first.
This is the Ralph J. McAllister Memorial Furnace. You have to be very careful around here. Ralph wasn't.
Yeah, because it has that documentary feel, and you're better than me, I guess, because I still was surprised that it was Paul, because it has the like a pre-tape. It is a pre-tape, but like the documentary look. So even though that they do, I played this again. Like they say New Jersey, I didn't think Pauly because just the way it looks.
Well, I didn't think Pauly when they said, it was only after they said Pauly, and then my mind was like, oh yeah, I remember him commenting on like the chemical plant and stuff. But I was surprised though. I probably as surprised as you were, like in the moment.
Yeah, and then you see his face. So I thought it was for a recurring character that can be very hit or miss and very one track. I thought it was good. I liked it, and you got a little bit more of Pauly with Joe doing Pauly, with him kind of giving that walk and talk of like the factory and being in the mall and stuff like that. So I would say this is probably 3 out of 4 stars for me. Like and probably the best. I would say I like this even over the Pauly Walnuts with or Pauly Herman with I say Pauly thinks Sopranos.
You've been watching Sopranos yet?
yeah, I've been talking Sopranos with some friends. With the Pauly Herman sketch with Karen Black in that episode. Yeah. I think this is like has overtaken that.
Yeah, I think this was the best Pauly Herman sketch, and I've been really fascinated the last few weeks about how they've chosen to reintroduce recurring characters. We saw Denny and her character with the little girl with the sock puppet kind of shown to us in a different way. So this was kind of along the same lines for me, and I think this really worked. And I love when he's at the mall and he kind of sings this song about, what else? He sings about being from Jersey. But I think this was more, I think this humanized Pauly Herman more than any of the other sketches have.
Yeah, humanized him, and I think with the pre-taped like format, he got to cook a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And he's still, for me, I'm not like, I want more of this character overall. But I'm like, okay, in this format, I could do more of Pauly Herman than like before.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I forget, I don't even know if Pauly comes back for the Ebersol era. I kind of think he does.
I feel like he does, but I don't know for how long.
Yeah.
Because it's not one of the first ones you hear about for Joe Piscopo.
Right, exactly.
Like the Whiners or like Sinatra or something, Mm-hmm. So I feel like it does come back.
Yeah, I think it does for sure. But so we have a good start. Great cold open, great monologue, the best Pauly Herman we've had. And next we have one of the most memorable sketches, I think, from this season. It made the SNN, our buddies at the SNN, mm-hmm. They're doing a top 100 sketch countdown. And this sketch actually made the countdown. And I think this might be the only sketch from season 6 that's going to end up making the countdown. I don't know which Mr. Robinson they had. I don't know if they had the first one the first Mr. Robinson.
Did they have the first one on? I don't know if they did or not.
No, I don't think they did. So this might actually be the only sketch from season 6 that makes the top 100. And it's a sketch that I vividly remember watching as a kid, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
For sure. It caught my attention. They would show truncated episodes from this season on Comedy Central. And I vividly remember this sketch because it was so kind of interesting to me. It's script and development.
No. He's blind. He pulls out the gun. He shoots her. She falls on the couch. No, he shoots him. He falls on the ground. No. He falls backwards over the couch and slams into the plate glass window. No, that's not right either. He slams it, staggers around the room, falls over, goes into the bookcase, pulls down the books of Leo Tolstoy himself. Just then, Helen belches and runs out of the room.
And I've just always loved this concept. It's relatively simple, but it works so well as a sketch. It's Bill Murray. He's at his typewriter. He's writing a story or like writing a scene. And we have Denny, Matthew Lawrence, Charles, Gail, all these people as background actors. And Bill's sitting there and they're acting out what he's typing. And he does edits and stuff. I've always thought this was a really great sketch, Jeremy.
Yeah, I think it is one of the great sketches in the history of the show. I was pleasantly surprised and glad that it made the SNN's 100 greatest sketches because I think it's well deserved. I almost was like, I thought about this one and I'm like, I don't know if people just hate on season 6 so much, they won't pick it. So I was happy that I think they picked it. It was in the right spot. I wouldn't say like a top 25 or anything like that.
Was it like the 80s, 90s?
Yeah. So I'm like, it makes the cut though. I think it's such a great sketch. It's honestly to me one of Bill Murray, even though he's not a cast member. I think it's like one of his highlights, even though he's the host this week. Like it's one of Bill's best sketches of his Saturday Night Live career, cast member and host. I loved what makes it is Bill, obviously he's making these characters up like he's writing, so he's not looking at the cast of like these characters, but when he's like having them do more outrageous stuff or changing things around, all of them like staring at him like, what are you doing? Like just makes it like just work so great and being like, what? Or like especially Charles when it's like go through the broken glass window and then it's like no. He falls into the complete works of Leo Tolstoy, and they completely fall on him. And Charles just looking like, what? Like,
Charles
I gotta
do all that. Man.
Yeah, I gotta do all that. Like everybody was on point in this sketch.
Yeah, absolutely. When he's saying Danny's character lets out a scream and she screams, and then he's trying to have her escalate, and then she's kind of like looking like, okay, I'm doing my best to scream here. It has such great escalation. I love when he has the actors freeze at one point, and Matthew is kind of like holding Anne, and they're frozen, and Matthew ends up just like dropping Anne because he couldn't hold her any longer. And then a classic moment to me with Bill running through the script more quickly, and the actors have to do the same. So they're like rushing through it, and Charles is reenacting like going through the window and stuff. To me, this is like a 10 out of 10 sketch to me. And everything, like a production note too, Jeremy, everything is blocked really well. Because what they were showing was Bill at the foreground and then the background actors. But Bill it was blocked so perfectly that nothing ever overrode the other. Like everything in the scene made sense from a blocking standpoint. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it was close to perfect, like the way it was set up. Like you said, the blocking, you could clearly see Bill in the forefront, and you should because he's kind of not on purpose, but narrating the sketch for you. So like he should be in the foreground, but you could still see the background actors, and you could still see their reactions to what Bill was asking. And like you said, there was never anything close where you're like, oh, is Bill going to turn around? Like it just all felt like perfectly placed and. I should have looked. I don't know who wrote this sketch or came up with it, but it's a great one.
Yeah, kudos to them. And this is such a strong episode so far. This is like a classic SNL sketch that I was so happy to revisit. Like I said again, when I was a kid, this is one of those SNL sketches that like kind of burned into my brain because it was so unique.
Yeah, I would see this a lot watching like the reruns and then like on different best of and like SNL shorts or documentaries over the years. Like this is up there for one of the sketches I always knew the most about for season 6.
Yeah, absolutely. A sketch that I didn't know about that kind of roped me in and I ended up really loving was our next sketch. It's called Altered Walter. So Dan Rather is visiting Walter Cronkite. Joe Piscopo plays Dan. Bill Murray is Walter Cronkite. And Walter Cronkite had just retired. So it turns out he's spending his time floating in a sensory deprivation water tank after his retirement. And his wife's getting concerned that he's just spending all his time in the tank. She calls Dan Rather. He's coming to pay a visit to maybe talk some sense into him. And this is a long sketch. First of all, it's a little over 10 minutes.
It was very long.
I think maybe they could have trimmed it a little bit, but not too much. Honestly, I think it mostly earned its runtime. Jeremy, I don't know about you, but this sketch really won me over. I ended up really loving this sketch.
Are you there, Walter? Are you there?
I'm everywhere, Dan. I've left behind this sack of skin that was once Walter Cronkite, and I'm accelerating through time and space. I'm cooking, man. Wait a minute. This just in. The news you make is equal to the news you take.
I liked it. It felt very long.
I think they could have trimmed maybe a couple minutes, but if it went 8 minutes, that's still long. But I think it would have really earned.
I was thinking like 7. I was in that range for me, but 7, 8. That's close enough. I do like it. It is interesting. I think I don't know what it was with Denny in this sketch, but kind of like a little bit like got on my nerves a little bit with stuff. I like Joe's Dan Rather impression, like seeing it, and Bill and I were talking about that in the Karen Black episode, and I thought Bill did a good Cronkite as well. Yeah. Like I really did like his and this was around 81 is when Walter Cronkite retires and Dan Rather's taken over for the CBS Evening News. So it was a cool idea to see him kind of tripping out and kind of like an ayahuasca kind of thing before ayahuasca got really big now. Right. He kind of had that experience. I thought I liked it. The only thing I could say is it went a little too long for me, but other than that, it's a really good sketch.
Yeah, it's and he explains that he's just been this buttoned-up newsman for a while. So he tells at one point them. So he decided that I'm just gonna bust loose, blow my head, see what's inside of there. He wanted to just go the opposite way, and he tells Joe as Dan Rather, "It's as if I turn back the evolutionary clock. I feel like an observer in some sort of primordial lamb state." So he's just really basically tripping his nuts off.
And sounding like Cronkite, yeah.
Yeah, but still sounds like Cronkite. So he's not trying to put a lot of, ooh, I'm tripping in his voice. He's sounds like Cronkite, but he's describing the psychedelic experiences. And he goes to visits the South American shaman and asks for some psychedelics, and he gives him a psychedelic drink. And I just love when he's tripping, and the visuals and music just crack me up. There's one point they're showing different shots of Cronkite and there's one shot of Walter getting punched by Muhammad Ali that I thought was hilarious. It was a really funny depiction of a psychedelic trip, honestly. And they remind me because earlier in the season they had, or it was a few episodes ago, I think it was during the Robert Hayes episode, they did a fake commercial or a satire about the butter and how it was psilocybin or whatever, and they didn't depict a psychedelic experience real well. They depicted a psychedelic experience great in this sketch.
Well, that's what I thought when you get the montage and Cronkite and Vietnam War and like you said, being punched by Muhammad Ali. I'm like, where is this kind of production in the sketches earlier in the season where it's we missed, why don't you have someone singing or give a background for these music album parodies and different ones like that. It was kind of lacking. This one had all that, and I'm like, yeah, you did that earlier in the season. Some of those other sketches could have worked better. This one, because if I do think what makes this really good, but also it puts it over the edge of really unique, was that montage and them doing if you take that out, is it still good? Yeah, but I probably wouldn't give it. I'd probably say 2.5 stars maybe, because I like just the Cronkite impression and the Rather impression. But that whole thing of really showing the trip and not just I don't know, half-assing it and just like, imagine, I feel like earlier in the season, what you would have seen him just sitting on a chair, just whoa, and like, that's
exactly.
it. Like, this was really cool and really cool visually to see.
I agree. That's what put it over the edge. Maybe they could have just cut out the end. Maybe he just didn't have to return back home and get back in the tank and stuff. I think if I was trimming, maybe the end just could have been cut. But I'm going to have to think about it, Jeremy. I know probably in our wrap-up, we might do like our top 5 whatever categories. I think that'd be fun. This might end up making my top favorite sketches of the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought this was really well done. A sketch that I've never seen before. I didn't even know it existed until I watched it, and I was really enjoying it. So, great start to the episode. And we have a very early, I guess not early because that sketch was 10 minutes. So, in the past, they would have already done like 3 sketches in that time frame. So, we're doing to our musical guest, and it's Delbert McClinton performing "Giving It Up for Your Love."
I'm giving it up for your love, baby.
And Jeremy, apparently, he's an associate of the Blues Brothers, which is why I didn't know who he was.
We all know your love,
my affinity for the Blues Brothers, famously.
Yes. I thought it was okay. It was an okay performance. It wasn't bad. It was okay.
Yeah.
It felt Blues Brothers-y. Felt.
Which is to say, it was not very interesting to me.
Yeah,
it was just
felt
sort of
like you got good musicians behind you.
Yeah.
So like that helps a lot. Like you have real pros, but you don't have the greatest voice or not the greatest front man, and so it's just like it works if it's in a comedy show. It doesn't work when you elevate it more. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So, like,
Yes.
if in a comedy show, I get it because I don't expect you to sound really good. And, like, the fact that, with the live band, you sound okay, like, fine. But when you elevate it to, like, they're performing and they have their own albums and all that stuff, then I'm like, no. it's a little too much here. So that's what I kind of get with him. It's like, as my musical guest, I would have gone with someone else. But it was okay.
That's what I put. It's fine.
Yeah.
I said not especially interesting. It was just kind of fine. So yeah, Delbert McClinton here.
No, it's so weird because they've had to hide their host for so many of these episodes this season. Where when we get to like this point in an episode, we're like, we haven't really seen much of fill in the blank host.
Exactly.
Where this is the Bill Murray comedy hour so far. Like,
absolutely.
It's all Bill Murray.
You're not hiding Bill Murray.
No,
not at all.
Nope.
Yeah. The next segment was very interesting to me. It kind of caught me off guard. It was Saturday Night Newsline Science Break. So we have Dr. Jonathan Lear showing us photos of DNA kind of in different states.
In its simplest form, DNA looks like a double helix. Here's a photo of DNA molecule sitting up straight.
A little trivia here. Jonathan Lear, the actor who played the doctor, his name is Mark King. And you're a big Cheers fan. He was in 2 episodes of Cheers. I don't know if he had a face that you remembered from Cheers. He played a character named Marshall Lipton in early Cheers, like around 83. So he's just kind of this character actor. Doesn't have a ton of credits. He worked with Joe Piscopo, I think, on something at one point after this. But they got in an actor to come and play this doctor who's just kind of showing us photos of DNA in different states. I thought it was weird. I didn't hate it. I just didn't know totally what to make of it. It was a little corny, but I didn't hate it. I just thought it was strange.
It's the start of a new era.
Yeah.
Technically, it's this is the era where Weekend Update is out. So like last week for next however many years, like 5 years or so, or 4 years, I would say, we don't have Weekend Update. So I think this was them trying to bring in a new thing. In a new way.
Yeah.
And instead of making it like Weekend Update, it's like, it's kind of like a quick news break. Yeah. So how do we differ it? But like, it's still just, you don't have any, the the problem with Update is the problem with this. You don't have anyone to play this news anchor part, so it just lacks. So I don't blame Mark King, but I didn't think it was good.
No, it was just kind of, to me, it was a little corny. Like, I don't think the jokes landed. And there's very corny jokes. I know moving forward, we'll have like the Saturday Night Newsline tonight. We'll have News Break. We'll have hosts doing basically the news during the episodes. So you're right. This is history because it's kind of the start of a new like Weekend Update kind of era or Saturday Night News era. But it didn't totally land for me. Like I wasn't like, oh, this sucks. But I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't totally love it. But I mean, I guess, they're trying to do a new era, and I applaud the attempt, I think, but it just could have landed better.
Yeah. I mean, they had to do something. Update was bombing in the audience, and I think probably with the public and critics, too. Right. It just was not working at all. Yeah, for sure. We have a live sketch next. It's Gail and Denny. They're waiting by a door as different people come out. So we see Dr. J come out, Julius Erving himself. Not himself as an actor, but what Julius Erving comes out. Sammy Davis Jr., John Kenneth Dalbray. Maybe he was a figure of the time. Yeah, I don't know him. And Roman Polanski, who's kind of the button of the sketch. And all they're doing is giving the girls chapstick, and they're changing their names to Chapstick or whatever.
Sammy Davis Jr.!
No, it's Sammy Davis Chapstick, man. The super beautiful, fantastic, lovely lip balm, man.
John Kenneth Galbraith! John Kenneth Galbraith!
No, it's John Kenneth Chapstick, the economical lip balm.
And then at the end, Roman Polanski invites the girls in, obviously a comment on what a creep Roman Polanski is. So I didn't, until I found out that this was a reference to an actual commercial, I was completely lost. But it is a parody of a commercial. So then I gave it more of a pass, and it ended up, in my mind, since it is a parody, being maybe a little better than I initially gave it credit for. Yeah, it was okay. They tried with the Polanski joke at the end. I don't mind the attempt. I'm not saying you can't talk about Polanski and whatever, but it just didn't really nail it for me. I don't know. It just was just a quick, little wink, and that was it. So, like you said, knowing that this was a commercial in the time, I don't knock it completely, but it didn't really land for me either. Yeah, no, me either. I thought I don't know what they could have done differently, but it was kind of like just because I think in the commercial it was a skier. It was like an Olympic skier, and she told people like, oh my, I think it was. I forgot her first name, but I think her last name was like Shafe or Shafey or something. And she would say, "Oh no, it's actually Chapstick" or whatever. And then she in the real commercial, she changed her name to Chapstick or whatever. So they're bringing out well-known people, and they're doing the same. I think it was too much, maybe on the nose for what the commercial was. See, I did see that same commercial, and if they would have done like the documentary style pre-tape spoof thing. And make it like the woman like skiing and stuff. I would have liked it better actually. Okay. I think you could have done more with that. And not like a live sketch. Just do a pre-tape ad parody. Right, like we saw with Gail doing the Brooke Shields. Doesn't have to be as detailed as that, but like just doing that one, I think would have been better than this. It doesn't even look like a commercial. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even like you kind of like that's why I had to research it because I'm like, what is this? Like when other times even if we're not of that time, it's parodying something. This I had to like look up because I'm like, I don't get it. So, you're right, because it doesn't look like a commercial. Yeah, it just looks like a sketch. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So let's see if kind of two middling segments here. Let's see if Bill Murray can pick us up because he's back on Saturday Night Newsline with an old kind of classic Bill segment that he would do throughout the years, picking the Oscars.
For her work in Holy Moses, the winner is Lorraine Newman. In the category of Best Supporting Actor for his fantastic work with Benji in Oh Heavenly Dog, Mr. Chevy Chase.
Jeremy, he rushed through the initial picks, and that was kind of my note at first. I'm like, man, he's really like blazing through the He does his classic, like, nobody gives a damn about the supporting actor and actress, so it doesn't matter. And he just kind of really rushes through those first awards, but that's because he gives out awards that he decides on. So he's doing new awards and he's deciding on them. It ends up being kind of a cool, not like funny, but kind of a cool tip of the cap to his old cast members.
It was touching in a way.
Yeah.
I thought it was very touching.
Yeah.
I thought that too at first, because I'm like, okay, I wanted to see him kind of work those movies and like make fun of them or make fun of those performances. Not the strongest Oscar year either, though. So like, I don't really.
No, was that 1980? The movies for 1980.
Yeah. I would say
Did Ordinary People win? Or was
I think that did win Best Picture.
Okay.
I think so. Now
it's around that time, but
I think that's the only one I kind of liked a little bit.
The Shining came out in 1980, but that wasn't like nominated.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because Empire Strikes Back came out in 80, so there were movies, but for the Oscars, it was like, ugh.
Yeah,
but
he really blazed through that part.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, oh man, but I am glad he gave that nod to his friends like that, and I thought it was very cool. Yes, Ordinary People did win Best
Look
Picture.
at that movie trivia that I just pulled out.
Yes. Oh, but you know what? I forgot. Raging Bull was part of that too.
Yes.
And,
okay.
Elephant Man.
Yeah, I saw Elephant Man listed.
Yeah, which is like it's not one of my favorites though.
Yeah.
But yeah, Raging Bull I think could have won. Looking back now, I probably would have picked Raging Bull for that.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to hear his thoughts on it, but I just thought it was really cool to kind of pay homage to those guys and who were, minus like Garrett, were in movies and were doing things too. And I thought it was a subtle way of doing it. It wasn't like I'm part of the original cast. It was a nice subtle way of doing it. Very touching. It was what Bill Murray has, that kind of charm that only he has, where it's not even funny, but it's funny because of his attitude and how the way he carries himself in that like sarcastic way, but it's touching in his own like way too, but not overly sappy, that he does very well.
Yeah, I agree. It was a nice balance, and he shouted everybody out. I like that he picked Caddyshack as his best picture, and then he mentions his brother and Doug Kenny. I thought that was cool that he mentioned Doug Kenny there. I thought he was going to skip over Garrett, though, because he mentioned everybody, and I'm like, oh, he didn't mention Garrett. But then he ended up giving Garrett a humanitarian award for his work with the Guardian Angels or whatever. I don't know if Garrett really worked. I think he might have actually done something with the Guardian Angels. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or if Bill was just trying to like include Garrett in
Bill's,
this. But I'm glad that he didn't forget Garrett, because Jeremy, I thought that was going to happen.
I was wondering, but I can say, and this won't be the first time, I referenced like the SNL 25th anniversary when Bill does that opening as Nick the Lounge Singer, and he was like, he gave Garrett his own space. He's like, here's the standing ovation for, one of the originals, Mr. Garrett, and everyone stood up and cheered for him, stuff, and he gave Garrett that shine. So I appreciated then, and seeing this, I'm like, I think Bill he's a sports fan like us, so I think he gets team. He might be a difficult star player at times, but I do think he understands team when it works.
Yeah, that's nice. He always wanted to make sure that Garrett was included.
Yeah.
Because Garrett did get, he was kind of like the black sheep a little bit of the cast.
Yeah, he got a lot of people got the short end in those original years. I know the ladies did too.
Yeah,
but
Lorraine kind of did.
Yeah, I think number one is Garrett.
Yeah, so I love that he included Garrett. This wasn't hilarious, but it was touching.
It was cool.
So
I
enjoyed it. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. The next one was interesting too. It's a short film starring Bill and Brian Doyle Murray. So the brothers are in this short film called Cut Flowers. So Bill is a worker at a flower shop. Brian comes in and tells Bill that he's looking for something special and unusual.
What, are you going to a funeral? Something kind of sad this morning, huh? You're depressing me.
No. I just want something special, something unusual, something a little less pedestrian.
Less pedestrian? You coming off the street, you don't want something pedestrian, huh? Okay, come on. How about a bird of paradise? You know bird of paradise?
Oh, let's see.
Bird of paradise. This isn't unusual enough for you?
Bill makes suggestions, and Brian's like, no, more unusual, more unusual. So it's a very slow pace kind of build up. It's a very quiet movie, and then it leads to Bill giving him African daisies, and it leads to kind of the button of the movie. Did you think that the twist, do you think that was a good enough payoff for kind of a more quiet kind of setup?
Yeah, I thought it was good because you didn't, for me anyway, I didn't know quite what it was doing. I felt like it was parodying like a drug deal, but they're in a flower shop because like the way they were looking, kind of like, oh, like, you want the good stuff, kind of. I want like the really good, and I'm like, oh, this is like a parody, like this, like, you know, we've seen different things, like it's a parodying a drug deal, but instead we're filling that in for flowers. So I kind of thought that's what it was, and then it was a twist when I see Brian eating the flower at the end, and I'm like, oh, that's
salt
not
on it first.
Yeah,
and you're like, what's going on? And then he eats
like,
it.
that's
I'm
not
like,
where I thought it was going.
No, I thought it was funny though. I actually did like the twist.
I did too. I'm with you. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good twist on it. The right amount of time. Wasn't too long, and you got the payoff. It was cool seeing Brian Doyle Murray there too, and seeing Bill, you know, work with his brother like that. But yeah, I don't know if that's what you thought. I thought at first it was like a parody of like I want the good like stuff,
Yeah,
and he said that even.
Yeah, I didn't think of that like as it being a parody of a drug deal, but that makes a lot of sense the way they were acting. Brian was kind of like a shifty, kind of shady kind of character. You didn't know what his deal was.
Yeah, yeah. And we've seen it like with sketches earlier in the season where it's like you get like the middle class kind of person trying to like buy stuff, and but they're like, you can tell they're nervous and don't do it. And he wasn't as like nervous, but that's the kind of the way he was dressed. I got that vibe like I'm going to the flower shop, you know. It's like
yeah.
Get the good stuff.
But Bill even commented to him at the beginning, like, are you going to a funeral? Because you're bumming me out.
Right.
Just the way he was acting, he told him he was bumming him out. So, yeah, pretty interesting little short film here. And it was nice to see Bill and Brian Doyle Murray acting together. Because over the years, they tended to, I think they worked together here and there, but Brian Doyle Murray tended to do kind of his own thing separate from Bill. They were in Groundhog Day together famously. It's like here and there, but you really saw Brian Doyle Murray work with other people, so it was nice to see him and Bill work together.
Yeah, which I kind of respected. Because Brian had his lane in comedy too, so I think it was cool to see him. And there's a lot of Murray brothers who get into the comedy scene. Bill and Brian are the two I'd say most known. But there's a few others who tried to get into it too, and they all kind of look alike. So
yeah.
You definitely know those Murray brothers.
Yeah, one or two of his brothers was in Scrooged, with him playing like his real brothers, I think too. Right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so that was nice. I thought I really enjoyed that, and I think we're back on track here, and I'm excited because honestly, the next sketch features one of my kind of favorite recurring characters. I think some recurring character that I've always just sort of loved watching. It's Nick the Lounge Singer, Jeremy. He's back as Nick Rivers. He's performing on a boat floating down the Mississippi River. They're heading to New Orleans. I'm just always a sucker for Nick the Lounge Singer. The Nick Winters one, where he does the famous Star Wars. That's like honestly a top 15, top 20 sketch for me of all time. I'm a sucker for this character.
Said that dude be rolling on the river. Yeah. You know, the South is known for its lovely, lovely ladies, and I know a couple of genuine Southern belles when I see them. Tell us, where y'all from?
Richton, Minnesota.
You know what's funny too? When it's the original era, like those first 5 years, and you see Nick. I know he's a popular character of that era, that original golden era. I like it, right? And but I will say that sketch you're referencing to it's a classic sketch for sure. But what's funny is I love Nick the Lounge Singer because of the stuff Bill has done with it after he was a cast member, including this sketch, including like the 25th anniversary special. I think Nick was the highlight of the 25th anniversary and the 40th, to when the esteemed host of this show, Brad and Gary, were talking about those anniversary specials, getting ready for the 50th, and they were like, I'm like, Bill as Nick the Lounge Singer, that opening for the 25th is one of the great SNL things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I mean, him doing the love story for Jaws at the 40th was the highlight of the night, in my opinion. So it's weird that I've grown to love this character more post its original run. And this is a great example of it because he was a tour de force in this sketch right here.
He's just amazing at working the room.
Yes.
Right? And Carrie, nobody does it like Bill Murray. I think there's other cast members who I may enjoy more than Bill. Like, I think Will Ferrell's the greatest of all time. I've said that before. But I don't think Will Ferrell can work a room as its character like this that Bill can. I don't think anybody in the history of the show can work a room like Bill does here.
It's the two. It's like we saw in the monologue. I think Bill and Eddie are the top two for that.
Yeah.
Like, they're the ones. And maybe Bill might be one, Eddie two, however. But, like, they're the two I can see who can just on the dime do that. Like, and Bill is just amazing.
Yeah, and I love the beats. Like he sings a rendition of "Proud Mary" that I enjoyed. He talks to Gail and Denny, who play Mary Kay reps from the Midwest, from like Minnesota. He ends up singing "Celebration" by Kool and the Gang. He introduces, we get an Yvonne Hudson appearance. He introduces her as an Iranian hostage, and I love the twist that he's kind of consoling her because she was an Iranian hostage, but one of the ones that got released earlier, so she didn't get like the love that the other hostages got.
Which is true. You know that really happened, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That really happened with the Iranian hostages. Like they let like the black. Some of them go. They're like, "Yeah, you're not the oppressor." So, like, and they're like, "You're not also bargaining chips." So
exactly, they won't care about you as much.
Yeah,
sadly,
they won't going to care about you. So you can just go on back. So, like, that was true. You know what? Like you said, the beats of it when he goes up to Gail. And was it Ann or Gail and Denny?
It was Gail and Danny.
Yeah, but he goes up to them and he's like, "I know some Southern gals." Like he does that whole thing, and they're like, "We're from Minnesota," but like I started dying. He's like, "I know some Southern gals when I see them."
Yeah,
where y'all from?
Minnesota.
Yeah, and then he tries to, Southern Minnesota, okay, and he tries to like work it. I'm like, what? But honestly, the song he does, Proud Mary and just some of these other songs that just crack me up. Like I'm dying every time. Like I had to watch this like 3 times.
It's great. Yeah, this is a fantastic sketch. And that was Paul Schaefer coming back to play the piano, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have Paul Schaefer back. I looked and I'm like, oh, yes, they brought Paul Schaefer back. It looked exactly like him. It was Paul Schaefer. You can't have... It's hard to do those Nick the Lounge Singer sketches without Paul Schaefer, right?
No, they're together. Like, if someone else does it, it kind of goes down. It's got to be Paul.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be Paul.
Yeah. So as a big fan of these sketches, man, this iteration, you never know what to expect when a cast member comes back to host and kind of does a character from their time as a cast member, but this one hit for me. This did not disappoint at all.
I mean, he had more room to cook than the Star Wars one. I think I laughed more at this one than the Star... Really? And that Star Wars one is a classic, but he just really is cooking like this time.
Yeah,
like
it's fun to watch. He's fun to watch as this character. Now, it was a pleasant surprise because I had known that he brought it back for this episode, but I had forgot. So when he came on stage, I was like, yes, here we go. I cracked my knuckles. I was like, let's settle in and watch some Nick the Lounge Singer. So
you want to I want to have a little fun with you right now.
Yeah.
We know, I guess technically the first like quote unquote SNL movie are the Blues Brothers. Mm-hmm. Do you think, taking your bias aside, this should have been an SNL movie as well? And if it is, do you think this would have been better than the Blues Brothers?
I don't. I'm trying to visualize because the tricky thing is, an SNL movie could easily take a character that you like and make them annoying. Mm-hmm. I think they could have done. I can definitely see a narrative with Nick the Lounge Singer, like that's just kind of built in right there. I think they could have done a pretty good job of not making Nick annoying. Like, you kind of give him just enough room to cook, but then you got to pull it back and like humanize him a little bit more and make him like more of a character, more of a person.
For sure.
Yes, I think it would have been better than the Blues Brothers.
I think so too.
Okay.
I think so too. I really do.
I would like to see the attempt.
And I think you could have even done the same thing of having like real singers of past times or the times appear and they can sing. So you actually get like good music, but maybe in the beginning and then like a part in like the middle or the end, Nick doing like this where he's doing him trying to sing or something like that. I think it could have really worked. Like this is such a great character.
Yeah, maybe he's singing and working the room, and he ends up kind of interacting with the wrong people and gets himself into a situation, something like that. I don't know. Just spitballing.
Yeah, I think it would have been funny if, like, I'm trying to think of the right example of, like, even though he's terrible, he actually was in the business. So say he bumps into, like, Aretha Franklin. Like, she does know who Nick is.
They actually know him, yeah.
Yeah, like,
he knows,
Nick,
like, everybody. He could be like a Forrest Gump of the business.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, Nick, he's asking for help again or something. And Nick's like, remember, I drove you to your audition back in '63. Like, you wouldn't have got signed by Motown without me. Like,
and
like
she's
he
like,
just,
you're right, you did.
Yeah. She's like, you're right. Remember, I believed in you. Like, I just think, like, it would have worked so great. Like, I'm with you. I love this character.
Oh, man. Now I'm bugged that we didn't get a Nick the Lounge Singer attempt at a movie. Oh.
Yeah.
It's not too late, I guess. We have the third iteration tonight of Saturday Night Newsline next, and it's Charles anchoring. So it's a little bit like Weekend Update here, more classic Weekend Update style. We get Charles anchoring, telling jokes. Joe is on doing sports. They're playing, the only thing I could say, they're playing with the new camera angle for Charles, which is a little jarring. The jokes still aren't hitting for me, but visually it looks a little different. And even Joe at sports, I've generally liked everything he's done. This didn't hit with me either, Joe at sports.
Thanks, Charlie. Hello again, everybody. Joe Piscopo live. Saturday Night Sports, the big story. Hockey, violence, penalties, blood, stitches, Gore City. Solution, softer sticks. Violence, plenty. Bloodshed, none.
It makes no sense to bring this back. If you're going to do the Saturday Night Newsline and make it different, then make it different. It's not like we're going to be confused, or the audience back then is going to be like, I don't like Weekend Update, but it's Saturday Night Newsline, and like he's doing the same shtick, the same thing. It made complete no sense at all to do this, and especially I look at adding in Joe with sports, because Joe didn't just do sports on Update; he had other segments. So I don't mind Joe having, because we've liked the sports breaks that he's done. Then just make this sketch about that. Give us Joe doing a sports break sketch. Why do you need Saturday Night Newsline? To me, you did the earlier with Mark, you did the early sample run through try. Leave it alone there. This was just I don't know, not a good decision, and kind of, I hate to say this, but I don't see the logic. It wasn't a bright decision in my opinion either.
No, it didn't make sense. If you're trying to rebrand the news portion of the show, then bringing Charles back to anchor didn't make sense to me. And I think Joe's bit that he did with sports, he's reporting on that there's violence in hockey, and his solution is softer sticks. That just, I don't know. That to me, that was a joke that didn't land. It was kind of lazy. I don't know.
One of the weakest ones of the season for him.
Yeah, for sure. Charles actually had the funniest line to me, and I don't know if it was improv or if it was part of this, but he looks at, when Joe's done with his report, Charles looks at Joe and says, "Did you say puck?" He's trying to get clarification. I was like, hey, that was funny. That was good. That almost that salvaged a little tiny percentage of this for me, because it made me genuinely laugh when Charles called that out and said that. I'm like, okay, tip of the cap, Charles, that was good.
I agree. It made it a little bit better that he was able to do that. I'm like, all right then.
Yeah, but just, I think, a segment that they didn't need. The next one we have is a sketch. It's called No Sex with Mary. And Gail plays Mary Cunningham, who quit her previous job after the CEO announced that they weren't sleeping together. And then she got a new job at Seagram's, and the president of Seagram's, played by Charles, gets on screen to announce that he's not sleeping with Mary, and he's not having an affair with her.
And my new corporation assures me that they will be a lot more sensitive.
That's right. I'm the president of Seagram's, Mary's new company, and I sympathize with what Mary went through. So I just want to announce right here and now, I'm not sleeping with Miss Cunningham. She is absolutely not my mistress, and I want to make it perfectly clear that she is absolutely not my sultry slave of love.
But I'm not.
That's what I'm telling the people, Mary.
And then we get, Joe Piscopo coming on and talking. I think Gilbert comes on. to and has to announce that, like, no, I'm not doing anything with her either. It's very one note to me. I think I knew where they were going. I should say I didn't know. I had to do some research. When I was watching it, I was confused. I'm like, this is kind of one note. I don't get it. Even knowing the real story, which I'll get to, it's still pretty one note for me. What did you think of this?
I thought it was, yeah. And we're going to, I know when we get to these episodes, we'll talk about the ending and what happens and who got let go. I just think this does not look great that you have Bill Murray on here who's killing it and doing great. And the only time that the regular cast looks good is when they're just supporting Bill. But when they get a sketch on their own, it bombs.
Yeah.
Like, and they haven't looked good on their own. So I'm just like, this isn't great. And this looks very one note, very boring. Gilbert, why do you have him come in there doing that? It's just not needed. I'm interested to hear more about the real story, but I thought it was a thumbs down.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it. They tried for escalation, but it didn't feel like any escalation. It just felt like a rehash. They just kind of kept rehashing the same thing during the sketch. The real story is that there was a woman named Mary Cunningham who did resign from a high position at the Bendix Corporation after accusations that she was having an affair with the CEO, William Agee. So that was a real story that was in the news. She ended up getting a job at Seagram's. Of course, the Seagram's people didn't do, press conference. Yeah, but she ended up getting a job at Seagram's. And a little twist is she actually did end up marrying William Agee in 1982, and they were married for 35 years until he passed away. So
the person that she got accused of.
Yep, she ended up marrying him in 1982, and they were married for 35 years until he died. So that was kind of an interesting twist. Like, this whole, like, oh, he had to deny that they were having an affair, this and that, but they actually, like, did get married
that was my
thing. A year after this sketch aired.
Right. That was my thing with the sketch that was confusing, because I'm like, Gail looks genuinely annoyed.
Right.
Like, she didn't do this. So then I'm like, this looks like it's punching down, just making fun of a woman who had to leave a position and get a new position. And I don't think, obviously, in 82, like, so that's not yet, but I'm like, were people at the time being like, oh yeah, she definitely did, because I'm like, by the way Gail's playing it, I just feel like she's being like and she is being like not treated right in this sketch. But then I'm like, is this because, like, oh, she really did do this, or are they just trying to, like, make a point about, sexism in the workplace? I didn't really know what they were trying to convey in this sketch, too.
That's a good point. I really didn't know either. And I would be curious around the time if it was an open secret, basically, that William Agee and Mary Cunningham did actually have an affair.
Right.
It was like a Diana Rossini, a Mike Vrabel kind of thing. I don't know. But
that's a good one. That's good. Yep.
But I don't know what people thought at the time, and that dictated how they were playing it. But I was confused as well. And knowing that they seemed like they most certainly were having an affair if they got married in 1982, it's just, it was a very confusing sketch. Even knowing the backstory was still kind of confusing as to know what they were going for there.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know what they were trying. It just doesn't look good for the regular cast that, like, it's either Bill or nothing this episode.
Right, yeah, I agree. And Bill's back next sketch. We get a nice little slice of life sketch. It's Bill and Ann Risley. They play a couple who are arriving for a dinner at their friend's house, played by Matthew Lawrence. Getting a lot of Matthew Lawrence, actually, in pretty feature roles the last few episodes. It's kind of interesting, more than Matthew Lawrence than I expected. But they arrive at their friend's house for dinner, and they can't remember the cat's name. They're trying to remember, like, what's his cat's, because this cat means a lot to their friend, and they don't want to not remember the cat's name.
Yeah, do you still have those kitty dishes you used to have?
With a name on it.
Yeah, sure. I got a new ones, though.
Oh, new ones.
You did? New ones?
One.
Can we see them?
In the kitchen, right?
Great. Let's go.
No. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. I'm preparing something very special for dinner. I don't want you to see. Back up.
It's just like nice little relatable kind of. I don't think, I've always said this about relatability. I don't think relatability should be the main thing driving a sketch. And I don't think it was here. I think the relatability of it just kind of added to the sketch. But I think it was a good sketch in and of itself. I don't know what you thought, but I actually give this one a thumbs up.
I give it a thumbs up because of the at the end and like Bill being on the phone and how he reacted. It was funny. I thought it was an okay sketch. It was predictable throughout. Like, okay, we don't know, but that's okay. Like you said, that's fine. Not everything has to rewrite the wheel and be, oh, this is a new take on sketch comedy all the time.
Right.
Like, I think this was a simple one, in that you have someone like Bill Murray who can make this work, and I think like this could work with a Bill Murray. This could have worked with like a John Belushi, someone who can go off and make it like believable and like give you a little bit of fright, but also you're cracking up. So I think it was something that you do, even though he's a trained, veteran sketch performer and a former cast member, you play to their strengths and you write for them. And I think smart by the writers to do something that, hey, we can get some laughs with Bill. We know he can nail this part.
Yeah, even though this was a simple concept, I think there was really nice escalation here up until when Bill was on the phone at the end yelling, because he was on the phone with a friend who knew the cat's name. He's like, we need to know the name, because if you smile it, if you look at it and say its name, it'll smile at you, and we want to see it smile. And all
right.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. I think Anne did a good job. I actually liked Anne in this sketch. I think she was pretty good.
Yeah, she was. You're not wrong. I don't know if it was just playing off a Bill or what, but like she was pretty good.
Yeah. There's a funny subtle line at the beginning when they first enter the house or the apartment, and he says, "Oh, this cat looks like it's about ready to have kittens or be the father of kittens." Like he's trying to like fish for even the gender of the cat. Their guesses were funny. Popeye, Damien, R2D2, Lolita. They were trying to guess all over the map. I think I like this kind of game in a sketch where people are trying to pry information that they should know, and they're trying to pry information. I've been in that. You forget somebody's name, you should know the person's name, so you're just trying to, in your mind, like how can I have this person say their name? And in that situation, if I had a friend with me, I'd be like, I'd introduce my friend to them, and hopefully they would introduce themselves by name to my friend, and then you solve that. But I've been in those situations where it's just like there's information that you should know, but that you don't want to ask outright.
Right.
I just kind of like that game, Jeremy.
And I think it's always funny, whether in a movie or a sitcom or right here, where you're trying and you actually can have some good like attempts like of trying to get that name or that information, and yet the person who knows gives you a response that still leaves you like, I'm still where I was before. Like,
right.
You didn't give me I'm not any closer to it than I was. Like, they give me like a flat.
That's what
like,
the
thing.
Pat sketches basically were, right?
Right.
It's people doing that with Pat. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
no,
and
so
I didn't particularly
good.
love the Pat sketches, but that was like the game of it. That was just,
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, so to me, really good sketch. Like I was like surprised. I'm like, oh, I like this. It was really nice.
Right.
We have Delbert McClinton back, Jeremy, doing a musical performance. Delbert McClinton performing "Shotgun Rider."
A sweet love provided, and be my shelter from the pain and the cold, honey.
I think this song was a little boring to me, but I actually think Delbert and the woman singing with him did an okay job. I think Delbert did a better job on this song than he did the last one. We got a nice sax solo, so I'm feeling a little better about this one than the first song.
I'm not going to lie to you. I liked the song better for the first one. I liked the performance better here, where I was drawn to the two of like that backup female singer, and honestly more her than him, because she seemed really like into it and really like kind of like vibing with him, like we were jamming, and he kind of seemed to be like the more hype she was getting, like it kind of got him going. So I kind of was more fascinated with watching those two, and you had some good camera shots of like Delbert's in the front and you see just her, so it was really cool to kind of see that. So the song I think I liked, whether that was great, but I liked better for the first one. But the performance here was really cool to see that dynamic. And I would say she was the MVP of it, that backup singer. I enjoyed watching her.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you're right. I think the other one might have been a little bit better. I just think this style of music tends not to get me going as maybe compared to other styles of music. I think I tend to flatline, especially when people are doing covers of like those types of bluesy, funky. Like I just sort of it's easy for me just to lose interest right away. For some reason. No. Nothing against like there's obviously very talented musicians who perform those songs, but it just doesn't quite grab me.
They're to me, you got to be live.
Yeah, it's
for
better.
Me to be like it doesn't translate.
Yeah,
definitely not over TV. Maybe over like an Alp vinyl or something, like depending on the mood. But like I've gone to like bluesy type of things live, and I've like the right setting, like a smaller event, like it. And I think you would like it too. Like I've seen.
Yeah. Who's the
BB King
group?
Stuff?
BB King. I've seen. There's a famous group in New Orleans. I've seen something like Trombone. Have you ever heard Trombone Shorty?
Yeah, of course.
So Trombone Shorty on TV like wouldn't really do a ton for me, but I've seen Trombone Shorty live and I had a really great time. So I think you're right. I think there's a lot to that. But for some reason, if I see musicians, they're doing cover of like Soul Man on TV, it just doesn't really connect with me.
No, it doesn't. And yeah, that's a good point by you. Like it's not nothing against the performers or the genre itself. It's just some things do translate better on TV or on radio than other things sometimes,
Yeah, but this was a little better performance. Preservation Hall is what I was thinking of.
Yes.
From New Orleans. I've seen them, musicians from the Preservation Hall live before, and they're really good. But so next we have a live sketch, the final sketch of the Doumanian era, Jeremy. So,
wow.
So here we are with the last sketch of the Jean Doumanian era, and it's Bill and Denny, just the two of them in this sketch. It's Bubba's wash, Fayetta's dry. So Denny, actually, Jeremy said that this is her all-time favorite sketch that she did on SNL. She told Brad and Gary that when they chatted with her. So she cites this as being her favorite one. And it's a couple that recently got divorced. They have to share a laundromat.
And that is because some greenhorn judge gave you one half of my hard-earned operated laundromat. Now, just keep to your one half the dryers, and I will keep to my one half the washers, okay?
No, okay, Mr. Big Top. You keep to your dryers, and I'll keep to my washers. What do you know about color-fast cottons?
There's bickering that ensues. They bicker about what the laundromat's even called. Bickered about who each one's dating now. So I think Bill and Denny have great chemistry. This was kind of like a neat, little slice of life again kind of scene to go out on. Like I found myself enjoying this one.
From looking at the cold open, and because Denny was sitting next to Bill, and they, Bill comments about her hair, to then obviously the script reenactment sketch, and even though that's not directly them, but this one showed, there was something there with like a good chemistry, like working chemistry with Bill and Denny. Because this had it pulled at the heartstrings even a little bit when he's like, I ain't gonna tell you what he said, and then I thought like I'm waiting for a joke, and then she's just like, were they making fun of me? And he's like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, this kind of gets like a little bit like deep or something like that, and then they like connect a little bit, and you get the kiss, and I'm like, oh, this is them getting back together, and then I thought it was a good twist where like no, they're not, and they wound up. He's chasing her around at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched though, like when the sketch was like done and they kind of cut, Bill like climbs over like that desk and he like goes and gives Denny a big hug and picks her up. So I'm like,
awesome.
I feel like he enjoyed working with her like probably throughout the week. Like so, like to your point, they have really good chemistry.
Yeah, it showed in the sketch that they had great chemistry, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least if they just had like a really nice time working together.
Yes.
I think the conversation about Bill's character Bubba having a metal plate in his head and his new lady not knowing was pretty funny. And then there was a payoff to the metal plate because that's what did it. Because Bubba and Fayetta start to reconcile. They share a kiss, as you said. Then Bubba hits his head on a washer, and the metal plate in his head tunes in a radio station.
Yes,
which I thought was funny. And then they end up fighting again. So the metal plate was kind of the comedic sort of device in the sketch, and it ended up paying off. Like, I thought it was really well done.
And Denny has some good lines about the metal plate, like, too. Like, she probably can't handle, like, all those frequencies, like, hearing from Tokyo. Like, she had, like, just good lines. I was cracking up. Like, I'm like, okay, Denny, that was funny.
Yeah, and then they paid off. Like, if you introduce a metal plate in somebody's head in the first act, you got to use it in the final act, right? So
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Got to bring it home.
Chekhov's metal plate in the head. So yeah, this one really worked for me. I think it was I'm glad they ended the Doumanian era on a good sketch.
I agree. That's one that everybody can be proud of. Like, it was a really good sketch. It's something that it's a shame. I feel like they tried at times throughout the season but missed, which was like mixing funny with some real like stuff and then some heartfelt stuff and then back to like the funny, like you said, or like some slice of life kind of things mixed in, but still bringing the funny. They did it here, but they struggled throughout the season to really land those times, you know.
Agreed. Yeah, so we got the good nights. Bill jokingly apologizes to his former castmates for hosting the show, for being back. He kind of jokingly, says, "Oh, I'm sorry," whatever. I think he did that when he returned again in maybe season 12 or something. I think he did that again. So I thought that was a nice maybe. It seemed like he had a great time working with them, and it seemed like the cast had a nice time working with him. Like, that's just kind of what I gather. It seemed like it was a fun week. The vibes were good. It was a good episode, a very good episode, actually. I'm curious to see when we do our wrap up where I actually have this episode in my rankings, but definitely a top tier episode of the season, man. Like, something good to go out on.
Something great to go out on. I need to revisit SNN's greatest episode countdown from last summer in 2025 to see if this because this is one of the better episodes from start to finish, I think, in the show's history, in my opinion. Like, this was a really excellent episode, which I think, even if you can't stand this season or can't stand the non-Lorne years or whatever the case may be, I think it's hard to deny this is a standout, like, great episode from start to finish.
Yeah, and I think people sort of, even though Bill Murray's the host and you wouldn't think this would happen, I think people gloss over it because it's from season 6. And to me, that's a lot of the theme of the season, is people gloss over season 6, and did have like a lot of bad moments, but it's definitely much better than I think anybody wants to give it credit for. And this is an example. If this kind of episode happened in a different season, people would be saying, "Oh, that Bill Murray, you got to go watch that Bill Murray episode." But it gets lost. Yeah.
Well, and I think about, we talked about the good nights and Bill doing that apology, like a mock apology, but I think there's like another like double joke, because I don't think he's really apologizing. I don't think the cast is like really upset with him.
No.
But there was a thing of, we're all leaving. They're not bringing Lorne, like the cast, the writers, Lorne's not coming back, and they're not considering someone from the producers or writers, like comedy writers, to run it. So then it became like, well, then if you're tight with Lorne, you don't associate with this season. And part of me feels like, I'm not saying that Lorne put that out there or people assumed it, or I don't know what it was, but imagine if you have Elliot Gould for the first episode and then you get this one for like the second or third like early on, like the kind of momentum. And I think having a Bill Murray who was there and knows how to do it, or like, let's just imagine Elliot Gould, then you go to Bill Murray, and you get someone who knows how to do this at a great level, pretty much can show you how it's done. I think that could really have changed. I'm not saying it would have been the greatest season in SNL history, but I think that could have really kind of changed the fortunes of this Doumanian era.
Yeah, I think it would have changed the perception. It could have definitely changed the perception. That just goes to show a lot of things, timing things that are sometimes out of your control, can play a big part. And then if Bill came to host the show after Elliot, we wouldn't have had the Malcolm McDowell episode.
That's kind of why I said 3, and then I'm like, no, let's stick with 2.
We'll keep the Ellen Burstyn episode and just kind of replace him with Malcolm. Replace the Malcolm McDowell episode.
Yeah, let's get the 2 out of there. That's why I'm like second or third. I'm like, nah, we'll say second.
Yeah,
we'll say let's just replace it. Even if you had Bill Murray and Captain Beefcake as the musical, this still would have been like, yeah, this still would have been a hell of an episode. Captain Beefcake, when you're with that Malcolm, like it's just a double whammy, man. So like,
Captain Beefcake.
Yeah, that should have been a sign right there. Like the ship be sinking, we're going down right now. Like with that second episode, but man, it's just. Well, it's funny because Dick Ebersol always fascinated me, like just knowing his background and knowing, being a wrestling fan and his connection working with Vince McMahon and growing up watching NBC Sports like I know you did and seeing Dick Ebersol as the producer. So, and then learning that Dick Ebersol kind of helped co-create Saturday Night Live in a way with Lorne. He picked Lorne to be the guy to run it. So... And then Dick Ebersol's how you and I got to meet.
Yeah.
With doing that episode on Saturday SNL Hall of Fame. So Dick Ebersol really sticks out even more now. But I guess this is the episode. Dick Ebersol is secretly like watching the show and watching how everything's going down because his old Yale buddy, Brandon Tartikoff, who's president of NBC Entertainment, kind of calls him in to see what he thinks and can he save it. So even with this episode, the writing was already on the wall for Gene and a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think the cast did know that Ebersol was there watching and stuff, and so I think the cast maybe was seeing some of the writing on the wall, and they would do a break. So this episode aired March 7th, I believe, and they would have a little bit of a break. They're going to be retooling over a month. So the next episode would be April 11th. So they had over a month. Ebersol kind of came in. We'll get to kind of, what maybe happened between these episodes and definitely next week talk about, the people who left, but also we see some new faces next week.
Yeah.
So that'll be a little interesting. As far as like our reasons for optimism, areas of improvement, mine's more kind of on a macro sense as far as optimism goes, because it's hard to say because this is the last episode of the Doumanian era, so it's hard to like be consultants and say, oh, here's what you could do because this is your last episode.
Yeah.
And it's pretty bittersweet for me, honestly, Jeremy, because you're getting to know these people. We've watched all these episodes, once a week, back to back to back. But I just think like in a macro sense, like I'm optimistic because I know that they're ultimately returning or retaining Eddie and Joe headed into season 7. So I think you can see those good decisions. I think the Doumanian era ended on a great note, on a super high note. So that's if you're going out, if you knew that might be your last episode or your time was winding down, I think going out on an episode like this is actually kind of a nice thing. There are worse options. You could go out like on a Malcolm McDowell like episode,
for sure,
right? But you went out like this, so.
And I think the perception is a lot of times. Even reading like the Live from New York book, like that the Charlene Tilton episode was the last one, and that they got fired, which would have been a bad way to go out.
Yeah.
But like this was technically the last episode, so they did have a better way to kind of rewrite the wrongs a little bit, say I'm sorry, in their own way, and go out on a good note. I think that's awesome that Denny, like her final sketch was her favorite one.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool thing, which you wouldn't have gotten if, because the narrative is a lot of times you read online in certain places, the Live from New York book, like Charlie Rockett said that and then he was gone. And it was like, that did lead to him going, but it wasn't right away.
Right. I'm curious to see if Denny, because that might not be her last get. I think because she got retained for the next episode.
Yeah.
So Denny's back, Gail's back, Joe and Eddie are back. And then they don't.
So I should say for her last sketch with
Doumanian, yeah. And maybe if Denny doesn't have a lot to do next episode, which I don't know if she does, it wouldn't be the worst thing if this was actually kind of maybe the end, the last sketch for her. I don't know how big of a role she plays in the next episode, but I actually wouldn't mind if she went out on this high note.
I wouldn't either. That's a good point. It's just, so much stuff is going on. already that will be just so monumental for the future of the show, and if the show can last. I used to always kind of wonder why Brandon Tartikoff would call Dick Ebersol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that they know, but now, kind of just saying that stuff to you, I'm like, well, yeah, he did pick Lauren, and he was around for the beginning. He did see the creation of it. So, and I do know you, and I trust you. So now I'm like, okay, because I always did wonder, like, well, why did you pick Dick Ebersol to do this?
Yeah.
Because he's not a comedy guy. He's more in sports. So it was very interesting to, like, think about that and be like, I guess but it's still a crazy pick in my mind. Like,
yeah.
That works.
And an even crazier pick that Dick Ebersol made that we'll get into next week to be the first head writer was Michael O'Donoghue. So I'm curious to talk about that pick and some of the ramifications of Michael O'Donoghue's presence at SNL around this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh man, yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't have any areas of improvement because, it's hard to say. This was an excellent episode. It's the last one of the Doumanian era, and it just doesn't. As Bill would say, it doesn't matter because this is the end of the era right here.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It really. I guess to give an area like a positive sign is looking back. These networks are very whatever. They still are about money and all that stuff. So they could have looked at this, and after what happened with Charles Rocket and saying the F word, they could have been like, we're just going to cancel it. So I can say I'm grateful that, from Fred Silverman or Brandon Tartikoff, like they were looking to retool it, and they didn't want to just exit out. And maybe some people might say, well, NBC was struggling. They didn't have anything else. It's like, no, you still could have cut it. Like, you still could have just been like, especially with what Charlie Rocket did the week before, you could have just said, we're bagging this show. And we might come up with a new variety show in the future, like next season. So I'm glad that they did stick with it. No matter what people may say, like they had to, like they don't have to do anything.
No.
So they didn't have to stick with it. So I am grateful for that.
Yeah, I'm glad Tartikoff decided. Maybe because he had visions of hosting the show at some point.
Brandon Tartikoff was a big ham.
Yeah,
he was a ham. Which
he hosted. I forgot what season, but Tartikoff ended up hosting. Right?
It was either I want to say it was. I feel like I'm gonna guess season 8.
Something like that feels about right. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
so maybe he just wanted
8.
to host the show at some point, so he wanted to keep it alive.
Brandon Tartikoff, I've read a lot about him. He was a ham, but he always is the thing of like, I think that's what you need. I'm not saying it's not perfect, but when you have people like running these like entertainment things, you kind of look at him and go, Art, were you ever a fan of TV or of movies or music? Like, or is this just a money grab? Brandon Tartikoff showed like he loved TV, he loved ideas and stuff, and that is important to this job. Like you knew he was there for that. So I think it's just fascinating. I can't wait to talk to you more about it next week.
Yeah, next week's episode's gonna be really fascinating. It might be jarring and weird. I don't know what to expect from this episode. We're gonna see some new faces as performers, so it's gonna be interesting to me, Jeremy, I think.
Oh, very, very interesting. We're going to be getting changes. I want to see how they kind of bring those changes up. Like you said, it was a month off. So do you just kind of do it, or do you talk about it do you introduce it in certain ways? It's crazy. It's still the same season technically, but we're starting off the Ebersol era next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be episode 13 of season 6. April 11th, 1981, so they got a month off. And in that month, they decided, we don't need a host. We're just going to have no host this episode. So it's officially billed as no host for episode 13. Musical guest Junior Walker and the All-Stars. Vaguely have heard of Junior Walker. He's probably...
Me too.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. But I'm excited to chat about the final episode of season 6 with you next week, Jeremy.
Me too. It's been a crazy journey rewatching these episodes. I'm glad we did it, and I can't wait to kind of talk about the ramifications of of what's going to be going on at 30 Rock in the spring of '81.
Yeah. See you then, buddy.
All right, see you.
Thanks for listening to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. Be sure to subscribe and follow wherever you listen to our podcast. You can also follow us on social media everywhere at NR4PT Project. Thanks for listening. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.